Today is part 3 of our series on sewing Minion plushies, and we're going to get up to sewing the facial features on today and the overalls. We're working on it. Here's Bob. Isn't he adorable? He's starting to look really Minion-like, isn't he? Pretty soon he'll be done. So join us, won't you? Hello and welcome to another Mumsy video. Today we are doing part 3 of sewing our Minion plushies. So if you remember, last time we got all the facial features of our Minions cut out, and today we're actually going to sew them down. And there's a specific order to sewing them down so that you don't have stitches over stitches. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the eye pieces off and the mouth. We'll just leave the band right here, and what we're going to do is sew that down first. So this kind of requires a lot of switching threads on your sewing machine, because you'll want to sew this down using black, and then when we get to the gray you'll want to use gray for that. So I'll come back after I sew these down. You can also take the blue off for now if you'd like, and pin. Just remember to pin, or you can take a glue stick and sort of glue the pieces down and they won't get stuck in your machine. Okay, so we've sewn the goggle straps on. I use a tight zigzag stitch and sew down both sides, or in the case of the one that we've done here, I just go along all the edges except for this end, because that's going to be sewn around anyway. And if you're going to do the one-eyed guy, we're going to place it over top of the goggle straps there, the eye. We're not going to put the silver goggle part on yet, and we're going to just zigzag across where the eye is, the eyelid. If you're doing a purple guy, I think there's 2 eyelids, one here and one here, so we'll want to sew along it. And if you can remember to catch the little black piece underneath in the zigzag stitch as well, that would be a bonus, but you can also sew it on by hand later. Okay, so we've sewn that eyelid. If you want to be really fancy, you can switch your machine to yellow thread for that part, but I just kept mine on the dark gray, which I'm using for all of the features because I don't have a black and I get kind of lazy and don't like to switch everything, so we'll just go with the silver. That seems to be the best color to use. Now we are going to sew the goggle pieces on. So we're going to place them where they go on here, and Bob, let's find the center. So we sort of know, mark the center here. So we sort of know where the goggles are supposed to be placed. We want them over top of the white there. Don't worry about the pupils just yet. Just the white pieces and the goggles. Now we've got the goggles sewn down. You can see I've sewn on the inside and the outside. And the smaller you get, like with Bob's eyes, the slower you have to go to make that a nice circle. But the goggles, you'll see, they kind of puff out when you use this zigzag stitch, so they look like they are coming out like real goggles there. So the next step is to sew the facial features on. I do this by hand. Now, I'm going to have to look up which way was it. This one was brown and this one was green. I'll have to look that up when I sew it down, before I sew it down. But I suggest sewing it by hand quite a bit. You can glue them, but these minions get played with a lot, and the facial features are the part that take the most wear, so it's easiest to sew it down really good the first time, then have to go back and sew all the time when your kids come to you and say, oh no, my minion needs surgery again. Now we've sewn the facial features on, as you can see there. Don't forget to sew, if you're doing the one-eyed guy, sew this little piece down along this edge. And there's Bob. So I think we have time on this video to do a little bit of the prep for the blue overalls. So we're going to put that back down, and I'll show you what's going to happen here. So if you've sewn your facial features like I have, you might need to resize your blue piece a little. But basically what we're going to do is, when the minion is sewn together, it's like this, and there'll be arms right here. So we're going to cut where the arms are going to be. So my easiest way to do this is kind of fold it like how it's going to be sewn in a cylinder, like this. Then you can estimate, because the arms are at the sides here. So I just kind of put a pin near where the arms are going to be. Now, in order to do the blue, we're going to put it down here, and where those arms are is where we want to cut a rectangle so it'll look like overalls. So I basically kind of do this freehand on one side and then repeat for the other side. So you don't need much of an arm, but you do want it to look like overalls. So you make it thin at the top and a little bit bigger at the bottom. See? And then an arm will come out of there. So then I just fold this kind of in half, so I know where the other arm is on the other side. Then cut it. And you can clean it up again, but we are going to zigzag stitch that all down anyway, so it'll look nice. Now we want the bigger part at the bottom, and we can take our markers out. And I just kind of pin this down where we want it in a few ways. And I'll do that again for Bob. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sew straight across here in a zigzag pattern, and also around the squares here on our minions. Okay, so now we've got everything sewn down. Can you see that? We've got a nice overalls happening, I zigzagged all the way across the top and around the square here because we're going to cut a little slit in here to put the arms in. So we want to make sure everything is sewn down. I don't sew this edge here or the bottom because that will get sewn in later. And there's Stuart looking quite nice. So I think we're going to end the video there for today. And there we go. And next time we're going to do the arms and the pockets. And possibly we might do the top of the, we'll actually do the sewing in the top and the bottom. The legs take a little bit of work, so that will have to be 2 videos down. And then we're pretty much done our minions. So if you're still following along, comment, like, subscribe. If you click the little bell, it'll tell you when the next video is out. And I hope you're following along and enjoying this one. Bye bye for now.